Good afternoon. Welcome into WTUD Studios. Russell Snyder in-house, and it's our first installment of the Coach Joey Simcoe Show. He's sitting right across the table from me. Coach Simcoe, how are you doing today, sir?
Good, man. How you been?
I'm doing excellent. Welcome into WTUD Studios. Thanks for making time for us. We'll do this on a regular, semi-regular. We'll get all that figured out, but we'll be talking wrestling throughout the entire season this year. So, yeah, we're here, Coach. We're going to talk a little bit about it. How you been, man? What's going on?
Just you know, doing the grind, man. We finally got our first tournament in this past weekend. Guys are wrestling well. Just excited to be out there.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about let's go all the way back to the school year starting. Let's take ourselves through the wrestling regimen, I guess, as you get ready for the year, since it was our first time to talk about the wrestling team here on this program. So, school year starts. What is it like as a Tiffin University wrestler as you prepare to get into the grind, if you will?
Well, so we get here. We usually give them the first 2 weeks to kind of adjust to school, and we have a couple team meetings during those 2 weeks, and we get into that third week. We come back and we get going on our preseason. So our preseason, we do a lot of running, a lot of lifting, CrossFit type stuff. We do some hand fighting. We're not wrestling, quote unquote. We're doing wrestling movements. But yeah, man, a lot of running, a lot of putting pavement.
Teaching discipline, I'm sure.
Teaching discipline, trying to start our weight management. Yeah. It's a lot different for these freshmen. They come in, they're used to mom and dad being able to cook dinners and such, and now they're in the cafeteria, and it's a smorgasbord in there. So they're
and you're probably telling them stay away from those fast food drive-throughs.
Right, yeah. Right. I'm telling them, but then I see them there. Right. Because I'm retired. You're there. I'm retired, so I can eat.
You can do whatever you want nowadays. All right, then. Okay, so the school year starts. We're getting into the routine. We're starting to get ourselves, as you said, getting into wrestling shape, and then wrestling practice starts. And how long do you guys practice before you get into your first meet?
We started October 10th was our first official day. We did a big fundraiser that weekend up at Cedar Point, so we gave them off the 10th. We started the 11th, and then so we start then, and then our first competition is the first weekend of November. All right. So roughly a month.
Okay.
And that's kind of one nice thing too. We're allowed 2 hours of skills training during preseason, so typically we try to get that in as much as possible. Try to hit those 2 hours, work on some techniques that the freshmen are going to need, kind of knock the rust off for the older kids.
And then as you're talking about the techniques and things like that, you have to be prepared for that by looking back at the kids you have coming back from last year, thinking about the things they can improve on, and also getting your new incoming kids ready for the upcoming season. Let's talk about what you brought back from last year. You had a pretty successful team last year, and you brought back some pretty successful wrestlers.
We did. When I this is my 6th year, and this was the seniors are my second recruiting
class. That's a quick
class.
6 years.
Yeah, it's gone by real fast. I lost my hair.
I know. Yeah, it used to be Fabio-esque.
Right. I mean, it was nice.
Yeah, it's all in the face now.
Yeah, got to go with that. But this class, we did some things. We redshirted kids. We made moves, and we kind of sacrificed a season in order to make this team. And the only person that or two people, excuse me, that we lost last year was Jake Kramer. He was our first 2-time All-American. He was 6th in the country last year at 197. And then we lost Chris Baker, who was a match away from making the national tournament at 174 last year. He kind of bounced around a little bit, but everybody else is back. So we have Giuseppe Penzone at 25. We're looking to redshirt him. We brought in some freshmen. He started since he was a freshman. So we brought in some freshmen that are capable. So we're going to redshirt Zeppy to get another year out of him. Mikey's back at 49, returning All-American. Sammy's back at 157. He's a 2-time qualifier, round of 12er. So 2 years in a row, man, he's literally like 15 seconds away from getting on the podium.
Wow.
So big things out of him this year. Then again, we lost Kramer, and then we got Big Ol' back, at heavyweight. So,
yeah, no doubt. He's kind of like your anchor of your squad, isn't he?
He has, man. He's something else. He's a big teddy bear, like when he wrestles, he's this vicious competitor or whatever. But off the mat, he's like the nicest, best kid you could ask for.
All those kids that you mentioned, and kids that they're all names that people who follow Tiffin University Wrestling are going to recognize. All those names, even the kids you said are gone now. Kids got a lot of mat time. Yeah. Underneath their singlet, I guess. If you don't want to say underneath their belt, but you got a lot of experience. You lost a little bit of experience. We got a lot of experience coming back. And you mentioned that you got a lot of young kids coming in. It's going to be a nice mix of experience and non-experience. Let's talk a little bit about some of those young kids you got brought in this year.
Well, I mean, this is probably the most credentialed class that we've been able to bring in. I've said this before. I never had a state champ, so now I signed a freshman that's a two-timer out of Michigan. And then Mikey Skreptak's little brother, Richie, he won one for Oregon Clay. He was their first state champ ever.
Awesome.
He went to Central Michigan for a year and then transferred in. So we have those two. Kilburn was the two-timer. I didn't say that. But this freshman class is just really, really talented, man. It's it's a lot of fun to see these kids because they immediately want to make an impact. And a bunch of them wrestled this past weekend unattached, and we had some scale issues. So our scale was 1.5 pounds light. So we left here at like 4:30 in the morning on Saturday. We get to Ypsilanti, and everybody was like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds over. So we ordered a new scale, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So we had like 20-something dudes running, trying to get the weight off. Some of them, missed, but were able to move up a weight class. So some of the freshmen kind of had a rough go, but even being up a weight and being extremely light for that weight, they were battling. My one freshman, Hunter, man, he wrestled this kid that looked like the Incredible Hulk. This dude was huge, and but I mean, he battled the kid, wrestled tough, and ended up losing a close match. But weighing in at 126 versus wrestling a kid that cut really hard to make 133, it was good to see.
That's probably a lot bigger difference at the smaller weight class than the heavier weight class, right?
Yeah.
That distance between those weights is a lot greater when it's at a lower weight class.
For sure. And we were just talking about it. Like I hate the weight cut. I hate that that's part of our sport, but it is.
Yeah.
And even everybody's tried to change it, right? And we have rules in place that help with the weight cut. However, everybody still does it.
You can't put a rubber suit on and go in the showers with all the hot water turned on anymore. You can't do that anymore.
That day's gone.
Yeah.
I like to say the days of mass weight cutting are pretty much over. Guys cut a healthy amount. Like these guys, they might come into school, 12-15% body fat. By the time we're into wrestling season, they're down to like 5 to 7. So I mean, it's healthy. It's not like they're killing themselves.
Yeah.
I hate to use that term, but they're watching what they eat. They're working out. It's a healthy lifestyle.
Well, it all goes back to what we mentioned when you talked about the conditioning in the preseason. It's just discipline. Right. If you're disciplined with yourself, the weight should take care of itself. If you're not disciplined with it, then you need to put yourself through some taxing things to get to that point.
Correct. Correct. And we preach that practice isn't about weight cutting. Practice is about getting better at wrestling. You cut weight outside of practice.
Okay.
So even with our little guys, like the youth kids, we talk about healthy choices and healthy eating, and my kids hate it, but it's part of their life.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're a college student, and pizza you probably have to cut out of your diet for quite a while. And what college kid doesn't, especially kids that are 20 years old, they can sit down and eat a whole dang large pizza by themselves for the most part. And there's a discipline again.
Yep, absolutely.
What do you attribute to bringing in these freshmen? You've been having some pretty good success here in your 6 years, and I imagine that the world of wrestling is starting to get a little more familiar with Tiffin University Wrestling. That's probably what's helping bring some of these very talented young wrestlers in here.
I definitely think so. Was it 2 years ago we finished 9th in the country? This last year we went to national duels. We finished 8th in the country. So we've done it as an individual tournament. We've done it as a dual team. So we're getting ourselves out there. We're putting in the work. And then in the off season we're busy. A lot of people don't realize how many camps and clinics and things like that we go to, and we expose ourselves to these kids. Like, hey man, there's other opportunities than the Big Ten. So it's just kind of getting out there. We've had to really push ourselves, promote ourselves.
That's what I was saying. You're not only promoting your program, you're promoting Joey Simcoe as well.
Correct. And it's because wrestling's a different sport. It's a different animal. You can't you can't miss a block and count on this kid.
Right.
If I move my hands in the wrong position, I'm giving up points.
Right.
So it's all on you, but you still have the team atmosphere. So I think that was really clutch, us being able to place last year at national duels, and that's the top 16 teams in the country.
Yeah.
So to be able to say we were 8th there, like that's pretty awesome.
That's real awesome, I think.
And then we got invited back this year, so we got another shot to do even better. And it's pretty incredible. Last year, there's 5 D2 teams in Ohio. Notre Dame, they won it. Lake Erie took 7th, and we took 8th. And Findlay was represented. So 4 out of the 5 Ohio teams were there.
That's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I mean, and three of the 4 placed.
Wow.
So
That's awesome. Let's talk. You mentioned the rankings. We were talking earlier. There's a coaches poll and there's the Bassford rankings. Are those the two major ranking services that take care of the wrestling? Now, right now, you said the Bassford rankings have you number 2 in the region and number 11 in the country. And then when you were telling me this, I kind of head scratched a little bit when you said the coaches poll has you 10th in the country, but number 6 in the region.
Yeah.
It's like, my golly, you just mentioned about all these Ohio teams competing in nationals. That kind of goes to the point of what we were talking about either. This is an incredibly difficult region that your kids wrestling in as well.
It is. It's tough to get out. Like at 133, we have Michael Labrie, a kid named Nick Kroom, and then a kid named Jordan Simpson that they're all 3 All-Americans. Kroom and Labrie are both NCAA finalists. So at 33, you have 2 finalists and an All-American,
Right.
I mean, and it goes through. We have another finalist at 74. Actually, 2 of them. He was up a weight when another kid. But yeah, it's a very tough region. So I think a lot of times, these preseason rankings, it's awesome to be in them. But like I told the guys, like it doesn't mean anything till we prove it.
Well, you guys got on the mats last weekend, right?
Yep.
Up there at Eastern Michigan and Ypsilanti. Let's talk a little bit about it. Why don't you give us a recap how your kids did?
Well, Big Ol won the tournament.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting because he ran into some kids that really didn't want to wrestle him. They were wrestling to lose close. That's what it felt like. To not give up a pin or big points. So up till the finals, he hadn't had a pin, he hadn't had a turn. I think his biggest win was by 4 points. And then he wrestles the starter from Purdue, who comes out and he wants to wrestle, and Garrett stuck him in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I saw 31 to be exact, which is insane in a championship match.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So it's good because he's having to fight through some things. That's kind of what killed him last year at nationals. He wasn't as used to the adversity from being so dominant. So we were happy to see that for him. Mikey took 4th, which is great. We've never had anybody win it. We've never had 2 people place at that tournament. So that was, no freshman, sophomore division. It's all open.
Okay.
So Mikey, he wrestled well. Looks like Mikey of 2 years ago.
Okay.
We're really excited to see where he's at this year, and he kind of set the bar. So that was great. We had Hayden Bronny at 174. He went 3-2, missed placing, just misplacing. But he's a redshirt freshman, so he's young,
Wow.
And he's a lot of fun to watch, man. He made this kid from Michigan State fall on his face 3 times in a row. Boom.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. And then we had a bunch of our redshirt freshmen do really well, actually going 2-2 or 3-2. And we had big weight classes, so we missed placing in a bunch of them, but we wrestled fantastic. One kid that comes to mind lost to the Purdue starter in overtime, and lost to another Purdue kid on riding time. And he's a true freshman who doesn't really understand, how the riding time stuff works yet. And I think he wrestles those matches again. He's 4-0 on the weekend. So we're really excited.
Is that a pretty good? You've wrestled in that open before. Mm-hmm. Is that a pretty good? You like that one as a barometer of where your kids are early in the season?
I do. We kind of run into the same teams, so we try to, like, it's kind of funny. Like Findlay, Ashland, Lake Erie, we see each other a lot.
Right.
So we try to avoid certain tournaments. We were going to go to Virginia Tech, but instead we're actually trying to push. After Christmas break, before national duels, we're going to try to push the team to this tournament called the Southern Scuffle.
Okay.
It's a very, prestigious Southern tournament where we can catch some of the, like, Vatex and West Virginias and Garner Webb Division I schools. So, we opted to switch that up. But, it's a great tournament. If you place at that, it's showing you're wrestling well. Mm-hmm. The hard part about this time of season is it's called the open season, right? So we schedule no duels in the first half. Just because we're not in dual form yet. Mm-hmm. So second half of the year is mostly our one-on-one competitions. But it's a great gauge. You just got to remember it's early. Everybody's got stuff to work on. So.
Right.
That's what yesterday was. We had a pretty fun practice. It was pretty lighthearted. They were off Sunday. I think Garrett got the team together for a team run.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was watching football and mowing the grass, so they were doing that stuff. And that's what I mean. We have great senior leadership to do that. So we were able to come in on Monday and do, just technique. There was no live. It wasn't really physical. I mean, broke a good sweat, but that was about it.
You guys in your team, pretty good place mentally right now, as far as, their confidence and, confidence in themselves and in one another?
Yeah, they, we really promote family. We talk about the brotherhood and being there for each other through everything. One great thing, like this weekend, so it's just Dustin and I on staff, and with 20 plus kids wrestling, you can't be everywhere.
No, it's impossible.
And plus we're not allowed to actually sit in the corner of a red shirt.
Okay.
So, for example, Zach that I was talking about, when he was wrestling, you got 3 or 4 of the upperclassmen sitting in his corner coaching him, and it's just this family atmosphere that really helps promote the confidence, really helps promote the belief in each other. So yeah, I'd say they're in a pretty good place.
And that also promotes to yourself that what you're doing is right, because these kids, if they're not soaking in what you're teaching them, they can't turn around and teach that and coach that to the other kids as well. So at least the message you're getting out is getting soaked in and then getting passed on to other kids as well. Because sometimes a young kid may relate better to a fellow wrestler than as opposed to a coach delivering the message.
For sure. And that's like me personally when I was in school. My coach was he was awesome. We spent a lot of time together. I mean, I cut a lot of weight. I was in kind of the old school days.
Yeah.
So honestly, Thanksgiving night, I remember, my first 4 years of college, I was in the wrestling room with him. Christmas Eve, I was in the wrestling room with him. And he taught me a lot about what it means to be a coach and what it means to actually say family and mean it.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since I kind of went off on my own and became a coach, I've really wanted that atmosphere, that open door, so to speak, policy. And we wear a lot of hats as coaches,
right.
But that's probably my favorite thing, is to see these guys, hear them say, "Hey, what's up, bro?" and really mean it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what is your favorite thing about coaching? Is it the relationships that's built between you and the wrestlers? And
absolutely.
It kind of sounds like that's what it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's seeing them win, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. Especially a kid that maybe was struggling with something, now all of a sudden he's hitting it great, and he's finishing matches that he wasn't before. But my guys that have left here, even the guys that I didn't necessarily recruit, that I took over and they were here, we still keep in contact.
Mm-hmm.
We're still close. They follow the Tiffin Wrestling page on Facebook. They follow us on social media, whatever outlet, and they're liking stuff and commenting, and I get texts from them all the time. This is truly a family.
Yeah, and that's, especially with a program that's being successful like yours, it makes kids want to continue to be a part of it after their time is done here as well. And also, as you said, helps. You got happy alumni from your program that can only help bring in new young kids. Absolutely.
It was kind of neat. I got a kid out of Illinois this year that I didn't know who he was at the beginning, but it was a kid that graduated from here. Again, one of the ones I was talking about wasn't my recruit, but he ended up graduating. We stayed close, and he kind of turned me on to the kid, and so I got talking to him, and now he's here. He's wrestling. It's
awesome.
Yeah, it's a neat little circle. Then the pride of TU wrestling is becoming something bigger than I would have imagined it would be at this point.
Yeah, if you don't have that relationship with that young man who's in Illinois that you said it turned you on to this other kid, that kid may be wrestling against one of your guys one day.
For sure.
Without that relationship, that doesn't happen. So it is really cool. All right, coming up next, schedule is at Ohio Intercollegiate Open. Is that the next thing you guys have at Case Western?
It's Sunday up at Case. This will be the first time we've gone to this tournament. There was some scheduling stuff that was a little weird. Usually we hit like Eastern or Virginia Tech, and then we go Michigan State, and then the Findlay Open. But it was kind of crazy this year. Michigan State and Eastern changed dates, and so Michigan State falls on the same weekend as the Findlay Open,
right.
And so we found this one, and I started looking into the teams that were going. So there'll be a lot of red shirts and second teamers from like Ohio State, Kent State, Cleveland State. Then we'll have some D2s and D3s mixed in, and so it'll be a good weekend.
How will you handle that Findlay and Michigan State Open on back-to-back days?
Well,
split them up.
Certain kids will go to certain tournaments.
That's what I figured.
My starters honestly will probably, or guys that are probably going to start, I should say. They'll probably take that weekend off. Either that or they'll weigh in, wrestle a couple matches, and we'll pull them.
Mm-hmm. Just like would you do something like that? Would it be just just to work on kind of like game reps type thing? Match reps.
For us, the big thing is being able to make weight and then perform.
Okay.
in high school, right? Like you get seeded. So once like all these kids on my roster would be seeded in tournaments.
Okay.
In college, there's not really a lot of seeding that goes on at these opens. So there's no easy match, right? So you got to get used to being able to make weight and then perform at optimal levels. And it's tough, like that first round always sucks. Always sucks. So we try really hard. Like it dual meets, you only have an hour between weigh-ins and wrestling starting. At tournaments, you have 2 hours.
Okay.
So we always try to make sure that, like at a duel, we warm up before weigh-ins. So we get a warm-up in, they weigh in, they get something to eat, they're able to start digesting. They don't really eat a lot, right? So at a tournament, because it's an all-day thing, guys tend to eat a little more, drink a little more, and all of a sudden they're really sluggish first round. They're trying to digest, blood's not flowing. So, we weigh them in, we let them get something real quick. About 30 minutes later, we put them through about a 30, 45-minute workout before they wrestle. That way they can kind of get that first match out. And that's more so what these opens are about, is just kind of getting your weight under control, being able to make that weight and then perform.
Yeah, that's an interesting part of it that a lot of people probably don't realize. The digestion of food as compared to when you're wrestling and when you eat and when you weigh in. It's a big it's an equation you have to figure out as a coach to make sure your kids are in a proper spot. His name is Joey Simcoe. We're talking wrestling here on WTUD. Coach, probably going to do this one. We're going to say we'll try to do it weekly, but if it happens bi-weekly, it'll be at the max. It'll be bi-weekly. We'll try to get weekly depending on how our schedules can come together. And then when you look at your guys' schedule, and basically, tell me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like the fall and into the first year is the build-up, and then after the first year is really the crunch time for your kids.
That second half, I like to call that game on.
Yeah.
That's the we end with the Midwest Classic first semester. That tournament's referred to as mini nationals.
Okay.
We got some things we're trying to do for that tournament. I don't want to let all the cats out the bag yet, but we got some kids that'll be dropping weights, and we got a surprise coming back that no one really knows about yet.
Nice.
So that 10th and 11th in the country and all that stuff, it's going to get only better when this kid shows back up. But we got some good things happening for sure.
Well, I love talking about it, Coach. It's a great pleasure to have you in here. And as we said, we'll do this every week or two. But you guys you got a pretty successful program going here, and it just keeps getting better and better every year. So we'll continue following you, man. As long as you make time for us, we'll make time for you. So thank you so much for your time, Coach. And let's do it again real soon, man.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it very much.
Not a problem, sir. His name is Joey Simcoe, and we're talking wrestling. If you'd like more information, you can find Tiffin University Wrestling on social media at
Tiffin Wrestling, just on Facebook. And then we have a Tiffin Wrestling Twitter, but I forgot the password. So I'm working on getting that fixed.
We'll get it taken care of. But you can find them. You can also always find out the information by going to TU Dragon or going to GoTiffinDragons.com.
Absolutely.
And link up with the wrestling page right there. Coach, thank you so much. Have yourself a great day, buddy.
Thank you, brother.